Another arrest has been made in the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation arrested William Roddy Bryan Jr., age 50, Thursday on charges of felony murder and criminal attempt to commit false imprisonment, according to a GBI press release. On May 7th, the GBI arrested father and son Gregory McMichael, 64, and son Travis McMichael, 34. They were both arrested and charged with murder and aggravated assault.
Truthfully, need to be cleared of this because I had nothing to do with it. I'm trying to get my life back to normal, and it's been smeared for the last week.
Okay. Joining us to discuss the latest developments in the case is attorney to Ahmaud Arbery's family, Lee Merritt. Thank you for checking into the Black Report, Attorney Merritt.
Thanks for having me.
Lee, now, why was it so important that Roddy be charged and arrested?
Because he played an intricate role in the ambush and murder of Ahmaud Arbery. We believe there was enough enough evidence to make an arrest on February 23rd of all three men, but because there was never a real full investigation, that didn't happen, and so we had to work backwards.
There's a few things we'd like for you to discuss with our FOXSOUL family.
Now, one question that I do have for you, Mr. Merritt, is how far away did Ahmaud live from where he was murdered?
I actually just went out there this past weekend, and so I actually ran the route myself. It's a 2-mile jog. It's a light jog. And when you get to the Scintilla Shores community, it's a beautiful place to run because it's right next to the water. It's covered by magnolia trees. He was clearly out there jogging.
Wow.
Now, you said you took the same jog that Ahmaud did. What were some of the things that you discovered?
You know what? While I was on the jog, I saw a white woman, and she was in jogging gear. She was running with her dog, and she looked like she jogged all the time. So I asked her, "Hey, did you ever see Ahmaud out here jogging?" She said, "All the time. He was part of the jogging community."
Why did Travis and Gregory McMichael feel as if they had the authority to be vigilantes in this neighborhood?
The word that you used was authority, and that's an important word. It's a legal phrase. Right. They actually did receive authority from a law enforcement officer, from Glenn County Police Officer Robert Rash, who sent a text message to the homeowner that said, if you have a trespasser on this community, you should contact Gregory McMichael. Of course, Gregory McMichael, Travis McMichael, and Brian Williams eventually murdered Ahmaud. So they did receive authority from local law enforcement.
See, we only saw about 30 seconds of Ahmaud's last tragic moments. So how long were the McMichaels and Roddy Bryan chasing him that day?
Well, if you look at the time step for when he entered the video or entered the construction site to the moment that law enforcement arrived, and they arrived, we know, seconds after the shooting, it was a little under 5 minutes.
This is so crazy.
Yeah.
What should we keep an eye out for as it pertains to this case?
Well, we just have arrests, and arrest ain't nothing if you excuse me. So we need actual indictment, a criminal indictment, which will come from a grand jury. We expect in mid-June, and then we need a vigorous prosecution. They have great defense attorneys. Where they got the money for some of the best defense attorneys in South Georgia is question that we have to ask, but they do have great defense attorneys. They're going to challenge every aspect of this case, including what they're going to call prosecutorial misconduct. They're going to say that the new prosecutor that the family fought to get, the black woman, Joyette Holmes, they're going to say that she's biased, that she's engaged in some sort of misconduct, and they're really going to go after her. So it's on us to kind of stay in there and protect that sister and oversee the process.
Now, lastly, how is Ahmaud's family feeling regarding the recent turn of events?
I love Ahmaud's family because they have kept the same disposition, which was who's next, right? So they're wondering, when are we going to go after Rodney Rash or the district attorneys who previously denied the family justice? And there's still so much work to do. We met with the Department of Justice yesterday, and we're really talking about cleaning house there.
How upsetting is this? It's 2020 and something like this is still happening to us.
Right.
It's frustrating, but it's, there's 1,200 officer-involved shootings a year.
Yeah.
There's massive a mass incarceration system that locks up people inappropriately. We just watched Mr. Woods put to death Nathaniel Woods put to death by a corrupt legal system. So we've always been here. I'm hoping that this case because it has so much attention, will be a wake-up call that we really start to fight for progressive change in our communities.
Now, Mr. Merritt, what's frustrating to me personally is that this man has gone on and said he has nothing to do with the murder of Ahmaud, but he filmed it and he's saying he's innocent. But to me, if something like that happens, how come he didn't call 911?
Exactly.
You know, how come he didn't try to do anything to step in? Instead, you filmed it.
This man went as far as to call out myself, Attorney Ben Crump, and the family of Ahmaud Arbery. He said he was defenseless and afraid and unarmed, and that he was the victim. And what we told him was the white tears aren't currency, man. Listen, you engaged in this misconduct, you have to answer for the consequences of your actions.
That's all it is. It seems like a lot of these situations, they do the action, but they fear the consequences and repercussions or think they can get away with it. It's one of those things, for example, if you are driving a car in a robbery or some sort, you are complicit in that action. You were a part of it. And I don't understand the disconnect that Lee Merritt seems to be having, with this. And just to harpen back to how can, because the older McMichael was an officer before, right?
That's right. He was a 30-year lawman in the South Georgia community, first as a police officer for the county that should have arrested him, but chose not to, and for the district attorney's office who should have prosecuted him, but chose not to. And he had no type of law enforcement powers anymore upon retirement. Even before he retired, he lost his ability to make arrests on the job because he just wasn't qualified. So he wasn't qualified to do it as a professional. He certainly wasn't qualified to do it as a citizen.
Man, this is so frustrating. And you think about it, sometimes people say, well, what do we have to do to protect ourselves? Look, it's a simple jog. What we can't go in certain areas still today that we're not allowed. That has to be upsetting.
It's scary now. Now it's scary to be outside.
Yeah. Well, we have a culture that says it's okay, you can do whatever you want to suspected criminals, and then the same culture that tells us all black people are criminals. So we have to end the stigmatization of our huge prison population. We have to end mass incarceration, and then of course we have to disassociate blackness with criminality.
Wow. Thank you so much, for Attorney Merritt. We really appreciate you for taking the time out to join us here at FOXSOUL and talk to the Black Report. Be safe and keep us posted, all right?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.